The storm rolled in fast that night, the kind of Nebraska July 4th thunder that makes fireworks look like matches. My old Ford pickup gave up halfway across the back 40, right in the middle of the corn. Engine coughed once, twice, then died like it was tired of living. I popped the hood, stuck the flashlight between my teeth, and started cursing the alternator the way only a man who's fixed the same truck for 23 years knows how. Rain hammered the roof like buckshot. Lightning split the sky white, and for a second I thought I saw something streak down. Too bright, too fast to be a firework. Then the ground jumped under my boots. A deep, bone-rattling thud rolled through the field about 200 yards off. Corn stalks whipped sideways. Dirt sprayed up in a dark fountain against the flashing sky. I froze for maybe 3 heartbeats. Then I spat the flashlight into my hand and kept working. Whatever fell out there could wait. The truck couldn't. Truth is, I wasn't really paying attention to the sky anymore. For weeks I'd been carrying something heavier than any socket wrench. Tucked in the breast pocket of my flannel, wrapped in a scrap of oilcloth so the edges wouldn't fray worse than they already had, was a photograph. Faded almost to sepia. Nobody in town had ever seen it. I made damn sure of that. Some nights I'd pull it out when the house got too quiet, stare at the 3 faces smiling back, my Sarah, our boy Caleb, and the tiny winged thing standing between them like she belonged there. I'd look until my eyes burned, then shove it back in the pocket and tell myself tomorrow I'd finally burn the damn thing. Lightning flashed again. The crater was smoking now, a black scar in the green. Something glittered at the bottom of it. I told myself it was probably just debris from a weather balloon or one of those Chinese lanterns kids launch on the 4th. I told myself a lot of lies that night. But the photograph stayed right where it was, close to my heart, burning a hole nobody else could see. I should have walked away. Should have told myself the crater was someone else's problem. Maybe the county sheriff, maybe the Air Force if it was one of theirs that fell out of the sky. But the rain was easing off. The flashlight beam caught something moving down there, and old habits die hard. 35 years patching up cows, horses, and once or twice a kid who'd taken a bad fall off a combine. When something's hurt, you don't leave it. I slid down the muddy slope, boots sinking to the ankles. The smell hit first. Ozone, wet earth, and something sharp like hot metal and burnt sugar. At the bottom lay her. Wings. Not like any bird I'd ever seen. Thin, translucent panels like stained glass shattered in a church window, edges glinting with their own light even in the dark. The rest of her was humanoid enough. Long limbs, pale skin that shimmered like mother of pearl, but those wings were the main event, and they were ruined. Bones snapped clean through in places, membrane torn into ribbons, silvery fluid leaking out and pooling under her. It glowed soft blue-white, like moonlight caught in water. She was breathing, barely, chest rising in shallow hitches. I knelt. Easy now, I muttered, same tone I used on a spooked mare. You're in bad shape, but I've seen worse. No response, just a faint harmonic hum coming off her, like a tuning fork struck far away. I ran back to the truck, grabbed the first aid kit and the toolbox. Aluminum brace stock from the scrap pile in the bed, some heavy-gauge fishing line I kept for emergency sutures on livestock, antiseptic, gauze, duct tape for good measure. Back down in the crater, I went to work. The hollow wing bones were filled with that glowing fluid. Had to drain the worst breaks first so they wouldn't swell worse. I splinted with the aluminum, bent it careful around the natural curve. Stitched membrane tears the way I'd close up a torn flank on a steer. Small, tight loops, no pulling too hard. Cleaned every wound with betadine even though I had no idea if it would burn her or help. Wrapped the whole mess in gauze and vet wrap so she wouldn't thrash and rip it open again. By the time I finished, the storm had passed. Stars were out, cold and sharp. I half-carried, half-dragged her up the slope, light as a child despite the wings, and got her into the passenger seat. She never stirred. Drove home slow, headlights cutting through steam rising off the gravel. Carried her inside, laid her on the guest bed that hadn't seen a guest since Sarah passed. Hooked up an old four-stand I still had from when Caleb was sick that last winter, saline bag, veterinary fluids. Tucked a blanket around her, careful of the wings. Then I sat in the kitchen with a mug of black coffee gone cold, staring at the photograph on the table. Sarah's smile, Caleb's gap-toothed grin, and between them, that tiny winged girl, no more than 6, looking up at the camera like she'd just discovered wonder itself. I traced the edge with a thumb. "You're a long way from home, kid," I whispered to the empty room. "Hope you still remember how to get back." She woke on the third morning. I was flipping bacon when I heard the sheets rustle. Turned to see her sitting up, silver eyes wide and furious, wings half lifted despite the bandages. The air around her hummed. Low, dangerous. "What have you done?" Her voice was music and ice at the same time. It made my back teeth ache. "Saved your life, near as I can tell." I slid the bacon onto a plate, set it on the tray with toast and coffee. "Figured you'd be hungry." She touched one splinted wing, fingers trembling. "You touched them? Without permission?" "Yeah. They were broken in about 17 places. Couldn't exactly ask." Her gaze locked on mine. "Among my people, the light wings, mending another's wings without consent is the most binding act there is. More than marriage. More than blood. By our oldest law, the covenant of binding, you have claimed me. My life, my service, my essence, yours to command. Forever." I snorted into my coffee. "That's the dumbest damn thing I've heard since the government tried to tell me how to run my irrigation." She went very still. "You refuse. I'm not in the market for owning anybody. Had a wife once. Lost her. Had a boy. Lost him too. I'm just an old man trying to keep the corn standing and the bills paid. You're free to go the minute those wings will carry you." She stared like I'd grown a second head. I set the tray beside her. "Kitchen's here when you want more. Bathroom's down the hall. I got a combined throwing belts in the shed. Holler if you need anything." I walked out, leaving her sitting there with her mouth open and her wings trembling. The photograph went back in my pocket. I didn't look at it again that day. If you've watched this far, then this story is really interesting to you. Please confirm it by clicking like under this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me understand what story to publish for you next. Let's move on. The next week passed in a strange, quiet rhythm. I kept my distance, not out of fear, but because I figured she needed space to heal, to think, to figure out what a man who wouldn't claim her even meant. She moved around the house like a ghost at first, silent footsteps, wings folded tight against her back so the bandages wouldn't snag on door frames. She ate what I left on the table, mostly scrambled eggs, toast, coffee she called bitter earth water, but drank anyway. Sometimes I'd catch her standing at the kitchen window, staring out at the corn like it was the strangest thing she'd ever seen. I spent most days in the shed or the field. The combine kept throwing the header belt, so I replaced it twice. Fixed the irrigation pivot that had been leaking since spring. Kept busy, kept my hands dirty, kept the photograph in my pocket, and tried not to think about it too hard. One evening I came in after dark, boots caked with mud, and found her sitting at the kitchen table with the coffee pot empty and 2 mugs waiting. She looked up when I walked in. "You avoid me," she said. "Not accusing, just stating a fact. I'm giving you room." I kicked off the boots by the door, washed my hands at the sink. "Figured you didn't want company. I have been alone for years. Company is new." She pushed one mug toward me. Steam curled up. "Sit." I sat. Took a sip. It was strong enough to strip paint, just how I liked it. She traced the rim of her own mug with one long finger. "You truly do not want me. As property. As anything. I told you. I'm not the owning kind. Then why keep me here? You're hurt. Can't fly yet. Where else you gonna go?" She studied me for a long moment. "On my world, refusal of a claim is unthinkable. It shames both parties. The mender is seen as weak for not taking what is offered. The mended is seen as unworthy of being taken. Sounds like a lousy system. It is efficient. It maintains order. Hierarchy. Control." I shrugged. I've seen enough empires try that. They all fall apart eventually. Her wings shifted slightly. Pain or surprise, I couldn't tell. "You speak as though you have known empires. Read about a few. Live through the tail end of 1 or 2. Humans aren't great at them either." Silence stretched. Then she asked, very quietly, "Why do you carry that picture?" My hand went to my pocket on instinct. I pulled it out, laid it face down on the table between us. Didn't flip it over yet. "It's old," I said. "From before everything went to hell." "May I see?" I hesitated, then turned it over. Sarah laughing in the summer light, hair wild from the wind. Caleb, maybe 7, holding a frog like it was treasure. And between them, small, wide-eyed, wings no bigger than a hawk's, her. Lyron. Younger. So much younger. The date on the back was 23 years ago. Lyron's breath caught. A soft, Harmonic chime rang through the room, her wings vibrating without moving. That is me. Yeah. How? Your shuttle, or whatever it was, crashed not far from here. Back when the government still called them unexplained aerial phenomena and hushed everything up. Sarah found you first. You were hurt bad, scared, alone. She brought you home, cleaned you up, fed you soup. Caleb thought you were the coolest thing he'd ever seen. Kept asking if your wings could make rainbows. I swallowed. We kept you 3 days. Long enough for you to heal a little. Then one night a light came down. Your people, I guess. They took you back. Left us a bag of what looked like gemstones as thanks. Sarah wouldn't take them. Said it wasn't about payment. Lyron touched the photograph with trembling fingers. I remember warmth. Laughter. A woman who sang while she bandaged me. A boy who showed me fireflies. She never told me the whole story until later, I said. After the accident, the reactor breach on the colony run to Proxima. Sarah and Caleb were gone in seconds. I was stateside, finishing a contract. Came home to an empty house, and that picture on the fridge. I looked at her. I kept it because it was the last time I felt like I had a family. And because somewhere in the back of my mind, I always wondered what happened to the little girl with the wings. Tears, silver, luminous, tracked down her cheeks. I never knew their names, she whispered. I only knew I was saved. And then I was taken away again. And years later, I spoke of humans in the Crystal Court, said we could learn from them, ally with them instead of conquering. They called it treason, exiled me, sabotaged my ship so I would die in the void. But I fell here, to you. I reached across the table, covered her hand with mine. Her skin was cool, smooth as polished stone. Guess some things come full circle, I said. She didn't pull away. For the first time since the crater, her wings relaxed, just a little. The delegation came at dawn exactly 7 days after the crash. I was on the porch with my second cup of coffee when the sky shimmered like heat-off asphalt. 6 points of light dropped straight down. No engines, no sound. Just a low harmonic thrum that rattled the windows and set the chickens squawking. They landed in perfect formation in the front yard, wings flaring out in a burst of molten copper and gold that turned the dew into rainbows. 6 of them, all taller than me, all armored in something that looked like living crystal. Leading was the one I figured was her brother, broader shoulders, wings deeper red at the edges, eyes the same silver but colder, sharper. Kiran. He stepped forward first. The others fanned out behind him like an honor guard ready to become an execution squad. Seventh born, he said, voice ringing like struck glass. You live? That is inconvenient. Lyron came out onto the porch behind me. She'd been healing fast, bandages mostly gone now, new membrane already knitting over the old tears, but she still moved careful. Her wings stayed folded tight against her back, a posture I'd learned meant submission. Kiran's gaze flicked to me, then back to her. And you have allowed a human to claim you. I didn't allow anything, I said before she could answer. She's free to walk whenever she wants. Door's right there. Kiran's wings flared wider. You mended her. By the covenant of binding, she is yours. And what is yours may be taken by right of conquest. He drew a blade from nowhere, long, thin, humming with its own light. Pointed it at my chest. Single combat, Earthman. Defeat me, keep her. Fall, and she returns to face judgment. Her exile was meant to end in death. Her survival mocks the throne. Your interference is an insult to our bloodline. I looked at the blade. Looked at him. Looked at the 6 others watching like statues. I'm 67, I said. Got a titanium knee from an oil rig blowout in '98. Arthritis in both hands. Bad back. I haven't thrown a punch since Reagan was president. You really want to fight me over something I never asked for? Your consent is irrelevant. Lyron stepped in front of me. No. Her voice cut through the morning air like a bell. Kiran's eyes narrowed. You have no standing to speak, exile. I have every standing. She spread her wings, slow, deliberate, pain flickering across her face as the new membrane stretched. He refused the claim. He offered me nothing but shelter and kindness. And you would kill him for the crime of compassion? Compassion? Kiran laughed, sharp, crystalline shards of sound. A human weakness. Meaningless. Is it? She took another step forward. Then why does it frighten you so much? The warriors shifted. A ripple of uncertainty passed through their wings, colors flickering in patterns I couldn't read. Kieran's blade lowered an inch. 6 days, he said at last. By the Treaty of Harmonics, I may not act on independent soil without cause for that period. In 6 days I return. If the human has not surrendered his claim, I take it by force. And you, sister, will watch him die before your own sentence is carried out. He turned. The others followed. They lifted into the sky in a single silent motion, wings catching the first sunlight like burning metal, then vanished upward. The porch was quiet again except for the cicadas starting up. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Well, I said, that could have gone worse. Lyron's wings drooped. She looked smaller suddenly. You should run, she said. They will not hesitate next time. Can't run from what's coming. I set my coffee down on the rail. This is my land. Only home I've got left. Then let me go to them. Surrender myself. Your death would be pointless. I'm already condemned. Everybody's death is pointless until it isn't. I met her eyes. That's not why we keep going. She stared at me for a long time. You are strange, human. So I've been told. She stepped closer. Her hand brushed mine. Cool, steady. Thank you, she whispered. For not claiming me. For giving me the choice to stand here. I didn't know what to say to that. So I just nodded. Coffee's still hot, I said. Come inside. We've got 6 days to figure out what comes next. She followed me in. The photograph stayed in my pocket, heavier than ever. Those 6 days felt longer than any winter I'd ever lived through. We didn't talk much about the fight at first. Instead, we filled the hours with small, ordinary things, the kind that keep your mind from chewing itself up. I showed her how to run the old John Deere without flooding the carburetor. She watched me grease fittings and curse stripped bolts, then asked questions that cut straight to the bone. Why do humans keep machines that break so easily? Why do you repair instead of replace? Why do you stay when everything hurts? I answered as best I could. Sometimes I just shrugged and said, because it's what I've got. Evenings we sat on the porch after supper. She discovered iced tea, called it liquid sunlight with teeth, and I learned she could hum notes that made the wind chimes ring without touching them. We talked about loss the way people do when there's no point pretending it didn't happen. I told her about the night the Esperanza Idaka went up in a flash of white fire somewhere between Mars and Jupiter. Sarah and Caleb had been on board, heading to a new colony because Sarah wanted Caleb to grow up under open sky instead of Nebraska dust. I'd stayed behind to finish one last rotation on the rigs. Came home to silence and a folded flag. Lyron listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, I lost everyone too. Not to fire. To politics. She told me about the crystal court, palaces carved from living light, where every word was weighed like gold and every smile hid a knife. Her mother ruled with perfect cruelty. Her siblings schemed in shadows. Lyron had been the youngest, the overlooked one, until she started reading forbidden archives about other species, especially humans. I found records of your kindnesses, she said. A doctor who treated enemy wounded. A farmer who shared his last harvest during famine. I presented them to the court, said we could learn, form alliances, grow instead of conquer. She looked out at the corn swaying silver in the moonlight. They called it heresy. My faction, 17 houses, scholars, artists, even children, was branded traitors. They burned the archives, executed my followers in the sun's corona, so no trace remained. My sister altered my exile shuttle's course, sent me here instead of the void. I still don't know if it was mercy or a final cruelty. Her voice cracked on the last word. I reached over, rested my hand on hers. You try to change things. That's more than most ever do. I failed. You're still breathing. That's not failure. She turned her palm up, laced her fingers through mine. Her skin was cool but warming. The photograph stayed in my pocket. I hadn't shown it to her again since that first night. Some things you don't rush. On the 5th evening, she asked, what did you mean when you said you sent messages to someone you haven't seen in a long time? I took a slow sip of tea. Old contacts. People I worked with back when the world still pretended UFOs were weather balloons. One of them owes me. Big. She tilted her head. You trust them? I trust that some debts don't expire. She didn't press, just leaned against the porch rail, wings half spread to catch the last of the day's heat. The 6th day dawned gray and heavy. Thunder rumbled far off like artillery practicing. We worked side by side in the barn, me sharpening mower blades, her sorting bolts by size with a precision no human hand could match. At one point she paused, looked at me, and said, "If tomorrow ends badly, thank you for showing me choice exists." I set the file down. Tomorrow's not written yet. She smiled, small, sad, beautiful. Humans and your stubborn hope. Keeps us going. That night, I lay awake listening to the house creak and the cicadas scream. Lyran slept in the guest room, wings draped over the bed like broken sails. I slipped the photograph out, studied it one more time in the moonlight coming through the window. Sarah's eyes, Caleb's grin, little Lyran between them, so small, so alive. I whispered to the dark, "If you're listening up there, give us one more miracle." Then I put it back in my pocket. Tomorrow would come whether we were ready or not. And whatever happened, at least we'd face it together. The seventh morning came cold and still. No birds sang. The corn stood frozen in place like it knew something was coming and didn't want to draw attention. I stood in the front yard with my old Remington 700 slung over my shoulder. Not because I thought bullets would do much against crystal wings and light blades, but because holding it made my hands stop shaking. Lyran paced beside me, wings half spread, new membrane catching the gray light in faint rainbows. She hadn't slept. Neither had I. "They'll come soon," she said. "Yeah." I glanced at the barn. The beacon I'd rigged up there 3 nights ago, cobbled together from old ham radio parts, a satellite phone I kept for emergencies, and a signal booster I'd borrowed from a buddy in Omaha, was silent. No lights. No hum. Just waiting. Lyran stopped pacing. Looked at me hard. "You still haven't told me who you really contacted." "Old friend. Name's Harlan. Worked black site liaison during the Cold War leftovers. He retired to a cabin in Montana, but he still listens on certain frequencies." Told him the truth, or as much of it as I could fit in a burst transmission. Asked him to pass it up the chain if he could. The chain. People who remember when the government stopped denying certain things. People who signed the Treaty of Harmonics 20 years back without telling the public. Neutral observers. Galactic Accord reps. Her silver eyes widened. "You invoked the treaty?" "Didn't know if it would work. Figured it was worth the try." She stepped closer. Touched my arm. "If it fails, it won't be because we didn't try." Thunder rolled, not weather this time. The sky split open in a perfect circle of white light. 20 warriors dropped through it, wings blazing crimson and gold, landing in a wide ring around the house. Kieran at the center, blade already drawn, wings spread in full dominance display. "Time's up, human," he called. Voice carried like breaking ice. "Surrender the seventh born. I grant you a quick end." I raised the rifle anyway, pointed it at nothing in particular. "Hard pass," I said. "She's not mine to give. Never was." Kieran laughed, sharp, cruel. "Then you choose death for both of you." Lyran moved in front of me again, wings wide despite the tremble in them. "You will not touch him," she said. "Not today. Not ever." Kieran's blade rose. "Stand aside, exile. Or die first." I felt the air thicken. The warriors tensed. Then the sky tore again, louder, angrier. 3 angular ships punched through the clouds. No markings at first, then white glyphs flared across their hulls. Interlocking rings, the seal of the Galactic Accord. Neutral white. No weapons visible. Just presence. They hovered. Silent. Massive. A voice boomed from the lead ship. Calm. Mechanical. Translated perfectly. Under Article 17 of the Treaty of Harmonics, unauthorized military incursion on a signatory independent world constitutes aggression. The presence of armed Valanthi forces on Earth's soil violates neutrality protocols. Kieran's wings flickered, colors shifting fast. Uncertainty. Rage. This human holds unlawful claim. Negative, the voice cut in. Mr. Heiress submitted documentation 3 days ago voiding any claim made under medical duress or emergency. The seventh born is free by mutual consent and accord arbitration. Stand down immediately or face sanctions. The warriors hesitated. Glances passed between them. Wings dimmed. Kieran's blade trembled. "This is not over. It is for today," Lyran said. Her voice rang clear, stronger than I'd ever heard it. "You have no leverage left, brother. No secrecy. No quiet victory. Only witnesses. Only shame. Go home. Tell Mother the exile lives and chooses her own path." Kieran stared at her. At me. At the ships. For a heartbeat, I thought pride would win. Then his wings folded. Slow. Deliberate. The squadron lifted as one, silent, defeated. They vanished upward into the light. The Accord ships held position a moment longer. A smaller craft detached, landed softly in the field. Two figures emerged, humanoid, robed, faces hidden behind featureless visors. "Mr. Heiress," one said, "the Seventh-born may request asylum on any Accord world. Medical facilities. Safety." Lyran looked at me. I smiled, tired real. "They've got better coffee than mine," I said. "Better everything, probably." She shook her head. "They don't have this." She gestured at the corn, the house, the wide Nebraska sky. "They don't have you." The Accord reps waited. Lyran stepped forward, took my hand. "I declined," she told them. "With thanks." The figures nodded once. The small craft rose. All three ships climbed, faded into the clouds, gone. Quiet returned. Lyran turned to me. "Now," she said softly, "I choose you. Not by law, not by covenant, by heart." I pulled the photograph from my pocket at last, held it out so she could see it clearly in the daylight. Her breath caught again. On the faded paper, Sarah laughing, Caleb grinning, and tiny Lyran between them. Wings just starting to glow, looking up with wonder. "My wife saved you once," I said. 23 years ago. Same field, same kindness. I kept this picture because it was proof the universe isn't all loss. And because I never stopped hoping you made it home safe. Tears tracked silver down her cheeks. "I did," she whispered. "And then I came back. To you." I pulled her close, careful of the wings. She folded them around us both like a shelter. The corn swayed gentle in the breeze. A single act of mercy on alien soil. And in the end, it wasn't ownership at all. It was belonging. Mutual. Deep. Real. The Accord ships vanished into the high blue, leaving only silence and the smell of warm earth. Kiran and his warriors were gone. The sky was ours again. Lyran stood beside me in the yard, wings relaxed for the first time since the crater. She looked smaller without the weight of empire on her, yet somehow brighter, like light finally allowed to shine through clean glass. I pulled the photograph from my pocket one last time, held it between us in the daylight. No more hiding. Sarah's smile. Caleb's frog. Little Lyran, wings just budding, staring up with the kind of wonder only children know. 23 years folded into a single faded rectangle. "You kept this," she whispered. "All this time. Couldn't let it go?" It was proof some kindnesses don't die, even when the people do. She touched the image, fingertip gentle on her own small face. Silver tears fell, catching sunlight, turning to tiny prisms on the porch boards. "My sister sent me here. Not to the void. To this place. To you. I thought it was cruelty. Now I see it was the last mercy she could give." I swallowed hard. "Sarah would have liked you grown up. She always said you had good eyes." Lyran stepped closer, folded her wings around us both, soft, warm now, no longer broken. She pressed her forehead to mine. "I claim you, Tom Heiress. Not by law, not by covenant, by choice, by heart. My responsibility, my purpose, my home." I laughed, soft, rusty, real. "Neighbors are gonna talk. Let them." I kissed her then, slow, careful, tasting starlight and coffee and something new that felt like tomorrow. When we parted, she smiled, full, unguarded. "A single act of mercy on alien soil," she said, echoing the words we'd never spoken aloud. "And you own the most powerful winged heiress." I shook my head. "Nah, turns out it was mutual, and a hell of a lot deeper." We walked back inside together. The corn swayed gentle behind us. Seasons would turn. Wheat would grow. She'd learn to make pie, badly at first. I'd learn her music, headaches and all. And somewhere among the stars, an empire would keep cracking because one old man refused to let saving a life be a crime. Because sometimes mercy comes back around. And when it does, it stays. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Write in the comments what moment in this story impressed you the most. And also check out the other videos that just appeared on your screen. See you in the next video.